Hello everybody and welcome to this week's lap guide. We are here in GD Sports, daily race B at Sardegna in the Group 3 cars. Quite a fun race actually, super aggressive though, so just be careful. You wanted to get a good qualifying, which is why we do these lap guides in the first place. We're going to be doing it in 3 different cars today, just to give you some options, because I think a lot of cars have a chance of winning. The one car that I didn't do was the Nissan GTR, which coincidentally I raced against with Ram for Money Shadow GT, so Super GT in his evil form. He did beat me. He had much better top end than me. I stood no chance, and I was making so many mistakes. But the point is, you can choose multiple cars to try and win this race, provided you have a good qualifying position, because overtaking around here is really not easy. It is a fun track. It's not one of my favorite fantasy tracks from Gran Turismo, but I think they've still done a pretty decent job. Funnily enough, if you look at the layout at top right corner, it kind of reminds me of Barcelona. So we're going to be starting off in the Ferrari, and then moving to the Audi, and then to the Mercedes. So different engine layouts in the final car. You're welcome to jump to those laps if you want, but I suggest sticking around for the full guide, so that you know, so you can pick up on the details that I talk about around this racetrack. I did spend quite a bit of time doing these laps, and as always, it's about getting within 1 second, which I did manage in the end with all 3 cars. Okay, so braking here for turn 1, super difficult. You got to actually be quite smooth going in, and the priority is the exit. So it's a bit of a compromise, because you want to get both right, but prioritize that exit, otherwise you're going to understeer wide. Flow through that long right-hander here. Now this is super technical, double right-hander. Again, prioritize the second apex, so going quite hard, but overslow the car. Here it's a downhill left-hander, so you want to brake in a straight line. Don't let the rear kick out before the apex, otherwise you're going to lose all the speed down the straight. Prioritize the exit as much as you can. Easy flat through these 2 right-handers. Now into an uphill long left-hander, braking just where the shadow was there. We'll go over it again. You want to get closer to the curb. A late apex like I just did there in the Ferrari is pretty decent. And then don't treat this corner like a 90 degree. It's going to fool you into thinking it's a 90 degree or something along those lines, but it's actually more like a hairpin. This corner here, there's a slight crest over the hill, which creates a lot of understeer, and through this final right-hander you want to prioritize the exit because of the long straight. So again, if you have to go in a little bit slower because the front end is washing away, don't worry about that. You want to prioritize the exit. So slow in, fast out is the name of the game in a lot of these corners. So 120.5 in the Ferrari. We're now going to switch to the Audi R8, and let's see how we go in that car. Right on. So now we're in the Audi, and to be honest with you, this is the car at the top of the leaderboard anyway. But having driven it now, I was instantly much quicker in this car compared to the Ferrari. The Ferrari took me quite a few laps to get that 120.5, but in the Audi I comfortably got it to a 120.3, and later in the day 120.2, which was about 6/10 away from the fastest time overall and 2/10 out of the top 10. I think it's just this car has the gearing that suits this kind of track, and since the latest BOP changes, they've definitely made some useful adjustments to the car that stabilizes the rear end. Obviously in long distance races you're still going to struggle with tire wear, but relatively speaking this car is much easier to drive these days. Only frustrating thing is sometimes you'll exit a corner in say about second gear, and you'll feel like you just wish you had a half gear less to try and get the revs up. So in the race you may find yourself switching to first gear more than you want, but it's okay. This track again, slow and fast out is the name of the game, and you don't want that rear to be sliding. But the nice thing with the Audi is that you can get pretty good rotation with the rear of the car without excessive sliding in this track. But that's obviously why you suffer tire wear in long distance races. Okay, again, sacrificing the entry to the final corner a little bit just so we can get a better exit, running down the hill now. Turn 1 and 2 super technical actually. I mean, this corner combination leads to restart city around this track, because if you miss this apex or braking point and apex for turn 1, you're really going to struggle. Slightly off camber when you go into the right-hander, that's why you're running wide on the exit, but if you try and brake too early through there, you'll tend to just be too slow on the exit, so it's a difficult corner to compromise. Again here, you want to hit the second apex more so than the first one, but you can brake quite late into there. Brake early here because it's a downhill left-hander. Downhill, be smooth as possible, wait for the apex, always wait for the apex before you get on the power. It's one of the fundamentals of driving that I teach a lot of people who take my coaching classes. It's one of the first things I talk about is you don't want to get on the power before the apex, otherwise you asking the car to do too much. Let the car turn into the apex and then worry about getting on the power on the exit. So obviously you got to maximize your braking. Okay, here, flow around this hairpin as much as you can. Late-ish apex, careful on the wall for the wall on the exit there. That's gonna eat you alive in the races. It caught me at once or twice today in the daily races. Here you can clip that curb but not too much. Brake just before the trees, the shadow of the trees, and nice late apex. Very difficult with the bankings there. Cut the track as much as you can, and this car is definitely the easiest to do the lap time in, even if you are not 100% comfortable with the track. So 120.3 there in this car. Late in the day I managed a 120.2, but now let's switch to the Mercedes, which, to be honest with you, of all the 3 cars I drove, this was the one that I enjoyed the most. I was really comfortable in this one, and definitely gets turn 1 and 2 much easier to go through. The weight of the engine's on the front wheels, so the turning is much better. There's no weight at the rear to create a pivoting and sort of sliding effect, so there's a lot of stability in the Mercedes, and I just think that in terms of having a clean race, this is probably the best car to go for, because you're not fighting the rear so much. With the Audi, I was fighting the rear quite a lot, and I felt like I should have had the Mercedes at hand because it was just easier to get around the track. Heading up here, easy flats through this right-hander, and now you want to brake just where the shadow is, right there. Go closer with the Mercedes and try use the curbing as much as you can to help with rotation. Come up over the crest. You don't need to go all the way wide. You can brake sort of in the middle of the track, late-ish apex. Get on the power as soon as you can, because this is a power track. The earlier you're getting on the power around here from the apex, the faster you're going to be. So try not to understeer wide past the apexes. Braking just before the shadows here, nice late apex to get a good run down the straight. Just be aware of the bankings and the crests around here, and trying to get into the groove and try and follow the racing line as best you can. If you're off the racing line here with the bank turns, you're really going to struggle with the front end. Okay, so turning in here, braking again. The good thing about Gran Turismo is the shadows don't move, so you can use them as reference points. Heading, I really like this right-hander here. Downhill, you want to flow in. You can attack the entry quite a bit on the throttle and then just tap the brake slightly. Here, this car was really nice in the double right-hander. To be honest with you, it was a little bit between the Ferrari and the Audi in terms of lap time. I think ultimately the Ferrari is going to be the Audi is going to be much quicker around here, but this Mercedes is a good compromise between the two in terms of lap time. The thing is, though, it's lacking a bit of top end compared to those 2 cars. But if you can break away at the start of the race, then you should stand a pretty good chance of winning in this car with the least amount of mistakes. Okay, again, this corner here to me was really tough, and this whole sequence here, because of the understeer through this right-hander, I always found myself compromising the next left. So I would do a small lift through the right, trying to stay as close as I can to the curb there, and then braking in as straight a line as possible. It's really easy to lose the rear, but again, with this car, that makes life much easier, so you can get a good run down the straight. Anyway, that sort of ends this week's track guide. Some enjoyable combinations. There's also the Group 2 layout for Daily Race C. I won't be doing a guide for that. I'm heading off now to Budapest for the final round of the GT World Challenge. Still P2 in the championship. We had a really good race 1 at Nürburgring, and then race 2 I got taken out at the start. Was a bit unfortunate. So we are still with a shout, but it's not going to be easy. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to it. So thank you to all my Patreon members. This show was brought to you by Thrustmaster. I've just become an official sort of brand ambassador for them. Really proud of that. Looking forward to working on them and new products and things like that for the benefit of all y'all sim racers. So anyway, thanks again. Visit Coach Dave for any merchandise if you want. And again, thank you to my patrons. Until next week, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you around the next lap. Ciao.